Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to talk about Ryan Garcia and his win over Fortuna over the weekend. There really isn't a whole lot to talk about. It was pretty much a Ryan Garcia show. He looked really good at 140. He looked really big. He looked really strong. He looked really big, actually, for the weight, but he looked really strong. Granted, he's fighting somebody who was a lot smaller and, didn't come in very muscular or anything like that. It's more of a natural way for him, but nonetheless, had a lot of experience and was a former world champion. So it's not like he's a walk in the park, and he had a lot of fights. So again, it's not like he had a walk in the park in front of him. However, the fight was made to do really three things. One, see how he looked at 140. Two, have a really impressive win so that he could impress Tank. And then three, really market that win and get a big win. And like I said, he did all those things. He did everything he was supposed to do. He looked really good. It was pretty much Ryan Garcia the whole time just teeing off on Fortuna. Fortuna really couldn't get anything going. He looked really slow. He looked kind of out of place. He looked like he was levels below Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia did look a lot better, though. Just overall in his form. He started early, which was another thing that I noticed. Normally he kind of takes his time, and he started a lot earlier. Also, now his chin is still up in the air, but it's not as much up in the air as it has been in the past. So I can see that they're working on some things with him. Also, his legs are bent and they're not literally straight. So I can see that they're working on some things with him. He's also, crouching a little lower. So again, I can see that they're working on some things with him, which is great. Like I said, he looked really good at the weight. There's not a whole lot to talk about because honestly, I don't think anybody believed that Fortuna was going to win. So there's outside of himself. So there's really not a whole lot to talk about in terms of that because he did what we all expected him to do. And he did it the way we all expected him to do it. I did think there'd be a little bit more pushback, but I thought that was going to happen early, and after like round two, I was very much so convinced Fortuna was never going to get in the fight, so it didn't really matter. But what I really want to talk about is after the fight, and in which case, Ryan saying, listen, if I can't get Tank, number one, I want Tank Davis at 140. Now, here's my thing with that. One, I don't think Ryan truly believes that he's going to be like the A side. And I hate using that term, but that's the term that's widely accepted. So I'm going to run with that. I don't think he thinks he's the A side where he gets to dictate where they will fight. If I were Tank or around Tank, I would definitely say let's do it at 135. Not necessarily because I feel like Ryan Garcia is a stronger fighter than him or a harder hitting fighter. It's just that number one, he looked really big at 140. Number two, I feel like 135 is just a better weight for Tank. I really do. And number three, it would give a little bit of advantage because clearly it's not fun for Ryan to make 135. So if I could, frustrate you well before we even fight, even better. But in no way, shape, or form is Ryan Garcia the A side in this fight. So I don't know where he's coming at Tank like, well, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it here. In which case, I think he needs to have a wake-up call and be aware of what's going on and whom he's calling out. Because the reality is Tank could literally fight this wall behind me and sell out an arena. So it really doesn't matter if he's fighting you or this wall. So you don't have any leeway when you're telling him what to do. But what really interested me was him saying, listen, if I can't get Tank, I'll take Teofimo Lopez. Now, here's my take on Teofimo Lopez. I've never subscribed to the thought that he was the man at 130 or 135. I just never really bought into that. With the Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, and Teofimo Lopez, I never really bought into the fact that he was like the top tier guy. And I still don't believe that. Do I think Ryan Garcia could beat Teofimo Lopez? Absolutely. I think Ryan Garcia could beat Teofimo Lopez. He's got a lot of steam behind him. He's got another knockout victory under his belt. He has no reason whatsoever to believe that he will lose. And he's got the speed, he's got the size at 140. And he's with a new trainer, and he's looking good. And we can clearly see that he's been working on some things. So you got all that momentum moving for Ryan. In terms of Teofimo Lopez, we have not seen him fight yet. He's going to be shorter for the weight. That's another thing. He's going to be shorter for the weight. Also, he's coming off a loss. So again, we don't know what he's going to look like, and we don't know how he's going to come in. If he, he claimed he was basically killing himself for that weight. So we'll see how he looks. But do I think that he's faster than Ryan? Not really. I think he's more explosive than Ryan. I think he's more unpredictable than Ryan, but I don't think he's faster than Ryan. I think Ryan has a lot more advantages, especially at 140. One, just being his size overall. Like I said, he looked really big. I got to see how Teofimo looks at 140. Competitively at 140. I have seen him, bigger, but competitively at 140, I want to see how he looks. But Ryan looked good. Ryan kept his speed. Like I said, we can clearly see that he's been working on some things. So what's the odds of him taking out Teofimo Lopez? I think pretty good. Listen, if George Kambosos can knock Teofimo Lopez off his feet, Ryan Garcia can put Teofimo Lopez to sleep. Absolutely. Ryan Garcia also has been off his feet, but when he gets off his feet, he's like 10 times more ferocious. When he got up off the canvas, he was seeking for blood. He was trying to go for blood. So, not to say that Teofimo Lopez wasn't trying to go for blood, but a lot of his steam simmered down, as opposed to Ryan, who just kept going. So when Ryan says he has a dog in him, I truly believe that he does have a dog in him. If it comes down to a dog fight, based on what I just saw in the Fortuna fight, I still would give the edge to Ryan Garcia. I feel like he was really pressing that action with Fortuna. Now, granted, I don't think Fortuna's the best person to gauge what Ryan Garcia could do against Teofimo Lopez, because Teofimo Lopez is extremely athletic, he's extremely versatile, and he's unbelievably creative. Ryan Garcia is not the most creative guy in the world. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, but he's fast, So in terms of Fortuna fight, well, all Ryan Garcia needed was speed and distance, and that was going to win him the day. Now, that's another thing that I feel like they've been working on with Ryan Garcia, because he's always had great timing, I feel like, but his gauging of distance looked really good. Actually looked really good. I think Teofimo Lopez has better footwork than Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia does know how to keep some distance. And I think the main thing, if they were to fight, because nothing has been, it was just basically a call out. If they were to fight, I feel like Teofimo Lopez, within 2 rounds, within 2, maybe 3 rounds, if he can't figure out how to get in close to Ryan Garcia, he not only is going to lose to Ryan Garcia, he's going to get knocked out by Ryan Garcia. That's my strong opinion, especially based on what I just saw. He came in there, Ryan Garcia, came in there very strong, very confident, very poised, and was calm the whole time. He didn't rush things. Even when he knocked Fortuna down the first time, he didn't rush anything. He was calm, he was poised, he was collected, and he knew what he had to do. And he just took his sweet time. He knew he started chopping at that tree, and eventually he would fall and just not get back up. And that's exactly what happened. Either way, I look forward to Ryan Garcia either fighting Tank Davis, but I would rather see that at 135, because Tank is really small. I mean, he can balloon, but like the reality is, in prime fighting weight, I think at best he looks his best at 135. So we'll see how that goes. Plus, like I said, he might, just to spite Ryan Garcia, to show him who the real top dog is, probably won't even pay that no mind. But you look at Teofimo Lopez, that's a real, he already said he was moving up. I mean, he said he was moving up after his loss to George Kambosos. So that's a real thing. And I know he's looking to get back in the mix. And the only way to truly make his way back to some titles is if he fights a name like Ryan Garcia. He's not going to be fighting any cab drivers and make his way back to that title. So overall, I think we can't lose as fight fans if Ryan Garcia fights Tank Davis or he fights Teofimo Lopez, because there's still going to be interesting fights. I still don't think Ryan Garcia is quite yet ready for Gervonta Tank Davis. I really don't think he's quite ready for that. I think a really big name like Teofimo Lopez, somebody who's well respected, somebody who's unified, titles. If he can beat that guy and he can beat him with his skill set, with his young age, you're fighting somebody in his prime. Fortuna's not in his prime. You're fighting somebody who's fast. You're fighting somebody who's creative. You're fighting somebody who's literally thinks and fights outside the box and has some pop to him as well. Okay, now that shows that you could be ready for Tank. And I think that also makes that fight even bigger, because knocking out Fortuna doesn't make somebody like me, or I'm pretty sure all of you, say, wow, you're totally ready for Tank. It doesn't really say that. It just says you're looking better and you're improving. That's all it really says. So in a perfect world, and I think financially speaking, it would make the best business sense if he were to take the route of Teofimo Lopez and then him and Tank can meet. I think that would make the most sense for his career. For Tank, like I said, he could literally fight this wall. It wouldn't make a difference, especially if it's in Atlanta or someplace. It wouldn't make a difference. They'd come watch him fight this wall and beat it on this wall for like 12 rounds and cheer every time he punches it. It wouldn't make a difference. But those are my thoughts. Drop your thoughts down below. Please like, please share, please subscribe to my channel.